The November 19th, 2024 regular Planning Commission meeting is called to order. The time is 6:01 p.m. Before we begin, Commissioners, please put away cell phones. If you have personal business during the meeting, please move for a recess. If you are participating telephonically, please mute your phone unless you are speaking. Also, when speaking, please state your name for those streaming the meeting. As a reminder to attendees, this meeting is being streamed live. The camera is located in the back of the council chambers above the clock. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. We have, Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Seals,
Here.
Commissioner Langell,
Here.
and then we have Commissioner DeYoung is absent, and Commissioner Stafford is absent and confused. And you do have a quorum with Commissioners Seals, Langell, and Brown in the chambers.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Langell, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item of business is approval of the agenda. Before changes are discussed, are there conflicts of interest to declare? If the commission would like to discuss anything under the consent agenda, such as the minutes, they need to be removed from the consent agenda and placed under new business at this time. Are there changes to the agenda? Hearing no changes to the agenda will stand as presented unless objection is raised. Next on the agenda are reports. Do we have a report from our Deputy Administrator as the acting city planner?
No report, Chairman.
We don't have an attorney online.
And do we have an attorney on the line?
The next item on the agenda is the public hearing. We do not have any items scheduled for the public hearing tonight, so we move on to persons to be heard. We are now at persons to be heard, a time for members of the public to share their views with the Planning Commission. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the Commission or administration. Anyone wishing to step forward may do so at this time. With no one wishing to speak, the next item of business, I didn't see you. Go ahead. Please write your name and contact information on the sign-up sheet. When you are finished, state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening. My name is Matt Ketchum, and I own K&H Civil Constructors, which is a gravel extraction and heavy civil general contractor in the city limits of Wasilla. I currently operate under an extraction permit on South Clapp Street, and we have subdivided a portion of that parcel into a subdivision that's called South Clapp Industrial Park. And we have carved off 3 parcels on that property, and we're in the zoned industrial area. And we have brought in power, 3-phase power to the front of all of those lots and gas, with the intent of selling those to light and heavy industrial type businesses to operate within the city limits of Wasilla. And I'm here today asking you guys, as you're going through Title 16 review, to specifically look at some of the code requirements for industrial zoned properties. and specifically some of the restrictions that you may have on really kind of the landscaping, which right now the landscaping requires that I keep 15% either landscaped or natural vegetation. And I'm asking that you entertain for industrial parcels a reduction of that, for the simple fact that industrial property, when someone purchases that, they're trying to utilize as much of the space as they possibly can, and 15% is quite a bit. As a matter of fact, 2 of the lots are about 3.5 acres, and 15% of that is a half an acre. And at the price that we're looking for, it sometimes can make it cost prohibitive for someone to invest their business from outside of the borough, which is really the businesses that we're attracting, to try to come inside the city limits, to increase the tax base, and then also to purchase our property. So a reduction of that, it would be helpful for the potential customers that we have, and want you guys to entertain that as you're looking through Title 16 review of the potential of a reduction for certain zoned areas, and specifically the industrial. And I'll answer any questions of the commissioners if you have any.
I just have one question. Where did you say this property was?
It is on South Clapp Street, so it's very near the Wasilla Airport. I can see the Wasilla Airport from my office, but it's across Lucille Creek, and I join up right with the borough. So a large southern property line that I have, and the eastern property line is actually borough. So I'm right on the edge of the city limits and the borough.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are no items on the agenda under the consent agenda, so we move on to the next agenda item, which is new business. Will the clerk please read the agenda item under new business, please?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Tonight, under new business, we have our public hearing. Item number 1, Conditional Use Permit 24-01, which is resolution serial number 24-09. The applicant, Tim Alley, with the Boutet Company. The owner is SM3 Development LLC. The request is a proposed amendment to the currently approved conditional use permits CU 18-01, CU 19-01, CU 19-02, CU 20-01, CU 20-02, and CU 21-01 for the shops at Sun Mountain Development. Unit G is currently approved as a 28,235 square foot condominium lot with a 3,500 square foot building. The amendment proposed under this application will revise the site plan to change Unit G to a 52,450 square foot condo unit with a 8,550 square foot building that has a 2,065 square foot dining deck. The 8,550 square foot building will contain 5 suites. 4 of the 5 are intended for general commercial and retail uses. The 5th southernmost suite will be a 2,500 square foot restaurant with a 2,065 square foot deck for dining. Access to Unit G is provided from Tyson's Trail, which is the main access road through the shops at Sun Mountain site. Water and sewer have already been extended to the southeastern corner of Unit G and will be utilized for service connections. The existing on-site storm drain will be utilized for a parking lot and roof drainage to the greatest extent practical. The lot area is 0.65 acres. Location, shops at Sun Mountain Phase 2, Condo Unit G. The address is 2030 East Tyson's Trail, Wasilla, Alaska 99654, and the zoning is commercial.
Thank you.
Lori Iceberg has joined.
Good evening, Zoe.
Hi, good evening. I apologize for the late calling.
You're a little hard to understand.
Is that more clear?
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, terrific. I apologize for the late call-in.
We're just glad you're here. Thank you. Deputy Administrator Nygaard, acting as the city planner, would you please provide a report?
Thank you, Chair. As discussed, this is a conditional use permit request. The staff recommends approval of this request with conditions based on findings of compliance with the applicable criteria established in section 16.16.050 of the Wasilla Municipal Code. There's a summary of requests in your packet, and because this project exceeds the 10,000 square foot gross floor area, a conditional use permit is required per the district use chart found in Wasilla Municipal Code 16.20.020. You will see the findings below, the first being the neighbors. The criteria is not applicable since there are not any approved neighborhood plans in that area. The next item to make note of is on the bottom of page 3, under fire safety and emergency access. The applicant's development is currently designed to be within conformance of the Fire Life Safety Access Code. Each building as developed will be subject to building permits and issued and inspected by the Central Matsu Fire Department Fire Marshal, where access and various other code implements will be subject to review and approval. And so the staff recommends, as a condition of approval, the applicant must obtain that letter from the fire marshal for a certificate of approval indicating the development conforms to the current CMSFD adopted buildings and fire codes. On page 4, you will see the findings as it pertains to traffic. The proposed use does not overload the street system with traffic or result in unsafe streets or dangers to the pedestrians. A traffic impact analysis was completed by Kettleton and Associates in 2021, and that traffic impact analysis is still valid. Please note that there are 2 conditions for the approval. That is, the Tyson's Trail shall include left and right turn lanes with side street construction, and Manny Drive will be paved to the city standards by the time Herman Road Extension Road project is completed. Next on page 6 is utilities. The proposed use shall be adequately served by water, sewer, electricity, on-site water or sewer systems. According to their application, this building does intend to connect to the city water and the sewer mains. Just a brief history, during phase 1 and phase 2, we did include that as part of the packet because this is an ongoing development. But the staff does recommend that the applicant obtain all necessary utility permits. Next is drainage. There again, we did update the project as far as phase 2. They did construct an extensive on-site storm drain network to collect the convoy of stormwater runoff and snowmelt to the on-site retention area. The staff does recommend a copy of the site drainage report be submitted for review and approval by the Public Works Director prior to any construction on the site. On the page 9, you'll see recommendations. Based on these findings, staff recommends the Planning Commission approve the condition use permit with the following conditions. All development on the site must substantially supply with their site plan and plans submitted attached as Exhibit A in Resolution Serial Number 2409, except as indicated in these conditions of approval or otherwise noted. Any changes to the plans must be submitted to the city planner for review, and minor revisions may be approved by the city planner, and all other changes must be approved as an amendment to the CUP. Second, the applicant must obtain the letter from the Central Matsu Fire Marshal for certificate of approval, indicating the development conforms to the current CMSFD adopted building and fire codes. The applicant shall have successfully applied and have approved utility permits. Number 4, a copy of the site drainage report be submitted to the Public Works Department prior to the construction. And 5, the applicant must obtain sign permits for any signage on the property that complies with the code requirements as in our code. I did talk to the development team and got some economic indicators as well. They said it would generate about 250 construction jobs and about the same number for year-round, 325 for full-time jobs, with estimated somewhere between $45 to $55 million investment that's coming to the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the city planner, on page 18, when I read the thing, it said 5 units, but when I look at the picture on page 18, I count 6 units. What am I missing?
Cindy.
That is an excellent question. You got the wrong picture, is what you got. So this would be something we have asked the designers to come forward tonight, as well as the team answer these questions.
Okay, thank you.
Would the applicant like to speak on conditional use permit 24-01?
Yes.
Please write your name and contact information on the sign-up sheet. When you're finished, please state your name for the record. You will have 5 minutes to speak.
My name is Dan Mitchell. I'm here on behalf of the Boutet Company. And we are proposing an amendment and applying to renew the current expired approval conditions used for the shops at Sud Mountain. And if we could, we can get those conditional approvals extended to the life of the projects. Well, I know that Unit G, then we got Unit H coming up. Pretty much you guys said everything that I was going to say, except for the square footage on the deck. It did change from 2,000 square feet to 800 square feet in the design.
I'm sorry, what was the square footage of the deck?
The initial square footage was 2,065, and the redesign is now 800 square feet.
Chair Seals, the number of buildings as pointed out by Commissioner Brown, or tenant spaces, is that just a mispicture?
That is a mispicture. It is 4 retails and 1 restaurant that's 2,500 square feet.
Thank you. You have anything else for us tonight? You'll get a chance to come back.
And what, Commissioner Brown, and what was the factor that changed from 2,000 to 800? What happened there?
I believe it's just an economic thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I believe they thought about it, that 2,000 square foot wasn't feasible for what they wanted, so they sized it down.
I just have a question on your parking. I noticed that you said that the parking will meet the requirements by using shared parking?
Yes. So in the permit there, I believe there was, that we're required to have 51, but currently design has 41. So shared parking with the other lots, I do believe there's 3 extra. So within peak, but there's also that bank. So peak hours of the restaurant doesn't conflict with peak hours of the bank. So there is that parking. However, when there is more development coming in Unit H, the parking will meet that requirement from there. So there's another development going to be coming after this development.
Right, so are these, and what I'm looking at is over on, across the street?
It's
Is that
at-
the shared parking?
Yes,
And with further development, is that going to remain?
no, so the further development on Unit H will have its own parking. And it will fulfill the needs of the shared parking with Unit G.
Okay.
Any other questions by the commission?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The public comments portion of the public hearing is now open for Conditional Use Permit 24-01. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Anyone wishing to step forward may do so at this time. With no one wishing to speak, the public comment portion of the public hearing is closed.
Commissioner Brown, I move resolution serial number 2409, reference to resolution of the Wasilla Planning Commission approving a conditional use permit for the proposed amendment to the current approved conditional use permits CU 1801, 1901, 1902, 2001, 2002, and 2101.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion by the commission?
Chairman Sills, I do have an amendment I would like to move forward. I would move to amend Exhibit A, Wasilla Planning Commission Resolution 2409. Findings of fact as follows. On page 39, line 142, delete the 2 words has been and replace with will be.
Which line was that again, please?
Pardon?
Which line was that?
142. It's on page 5 of 5 on the Exhibit A.
Commissioner Brown, through the chair, could you repeat the words you want to change again?
On line 142, it says landscaping has been completed. I'd like that to be changed to read landscaping will be completed. It's under construction. It's
Commissioner Brown, I seconded it and will accept it as a friendly amendment.
clerk please call the roll on the amendment to the motion?
Yes, so Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seals,
Yes.
Commissioner Langell.
Yes.
And so your primary amendment has passed.
Okay.
Chairman Seals,
Yes.
I have one more. I would like to move to amend Exhibit A, Wasilla Planning Commission Resolution 24-09, finding of fact as follows. Again, on page 39, line 146, delete have been and replace with will be. Where it says, and for future development have been met. Change that to read, and for future development will be met.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Seals, let's take a roll call vote. And Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seals,
Yes.
and Commissioner Langell.
Yes.
And that passes your secondary amendment.
Is there any further discussion by the commission?
None.
With no further discussion, would the clerk please call for a roll call vote to approve conditional use?
Excuse me. Does he get to come back first?
I think when you made the motion to skip to that point,
Okay.
but if you would like to.
No.
Will the clerk please call for a roll call vote to approve conditional use permit 24-01, resolution serial number 24-09?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. So Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seals,
Yes.
and Commissioner Langell.
Yes.
And that passes unanimously.
We are now at unfinished business. Will the clerk please read the item under unfinished business into the record?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Under unfinished business, we have the discussions, consideration, and possible action on the draft rewrite of Wasilla Municipal Code Title 16, Land Development Code, that repeals and reenacts Title 16 to substantially change the uses permitted in each zoning district, the review, enforcement, and permitting procedures, the planned unit development, landscaping, parking, conditional use, and variance procedures, and the design standards imposed in the city. And this is a committee of the whole. And just a clerk's note, the discussion on the draft rewrite is expected to be continued at upcoming planning commission meetings. Please contact the planning office after November 19th, 2024 for updated information.
Sir?
Yes.
Your motion passed, so you can either stay with us or you are actually free to leave.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
Have a good night.
You don't have to leave.
We're getting to the good part. Would the city attorney like to provide an update on Title 16 rewrite, please?
We need to go to the.
Sure. So at the city council meeting last night, our office began walking through divisions 4, 5, and 6 with the city council. However, we have not yet had an opportunity to sync within our team and incorporate any changes that may have come from that meeting. And so we'd ask that the commission's consideration of Title 16 be postponed until its next meeting.
Chair Seals, I need a motion to postpone. And
Commissioner Brown, I move that discussion on the rewrite of the ordinance be postponed until the next meeting of the Planning Commission.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Yes, and let's take a roll call vote. And Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seals,
Yes.
and Commissioner Langell.
Yes.
And that passes unanimously.
We are now at communications. Are there any comments on the communication items as presented?
Which one are we discussing?
If you have any questions on the permit information, enforcement log, or the Matanuska-Susitna Borough Planning Commission agenda.
I just had a question on, in just procedure, on the violation list. Will the commission receive a report when they are finalized, corrected?
To Commissioner Langell through the chair, we have not made that part of the process. What we have is just to show that when code compliance issues a violation, that it's opened, it could be appealed, and it does go through the state's process as far as public service. So if we wanted to add a status for when they are closed, we could do that, but it's not, it currently is not part of the process.
I would prefer that because to me, it's just all pending.
Well, and you bring up a very good point. Last night during the council meeting, part of Section 6 deals with fines and penalties and appeals and notifications. And so there was some really good, if you go back and listen to the council meeting last night, there was some very good conversation about that. How far do we have to notify? How do they appeal? And there's just some loose ends in our code. Maybe Zoe could speak a little bit more to that if the timing is right. But that's duly noted that we could put the status as open or closed, keep that revolving.
It would be appreciated.
Through the chair, one of the challenges that we have has to do with the code compliance falling under our Wasilla Police Department to a degree, in which there's some actual things although everything is public record, there are some, a little bit of restraints on what our system can see versus what their system is publishing. And so that would be one of the only issues I might see, but I appreciate you bringing this up.
Right, because I did listen to the council last night and they did discuss this, and the
Right.
members did say that they would like to see finalization, I'll call it.
Yeah, it was a good conversation.
Commissioner Brown, and that's what I was gonna ask. One, the amount of manpower it takes to track this, because depending on the violation and what lane it falls in, it become a extensive tracking system from the time it's issued to whether it went to the court or whether it came to the city, whether it was a city ordinance that was violated or whether it was a law regulation that was violated. So I will be concerned whether you have the manpower now to do that continuous follow-up, which could be extensive. And sometimes these go on with delays and postponements, and
Yeah.
it can go on for some time, and it requires somebody who spend a majority of their day just tracking these violations.
Chair Seals, yeah, our code compliance guy is already, he's pretty well, I would say, overwhelmed. And I would like to see some additional administrative help brought in. And but as far as tracking all this, the amount of manpower that would be involved in the time, it could get to be pretty extensive. Although it could be done.
It could be done, and hopefully when the rewrite is finalized, it'll be addressed in there.
I agree.
Any additional comments? We now move to audience comments. We are now at audience comments, a time for members of the public to share their views with the commission. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the council or administration. Is there anyone present who would like to address the commission? We now move on to comments. Does the clerk have any comments?
Thank you. I appreciated the meeting tonight, and as always, and wanted to just let everybody know that our next meeting is December 10th, and I hope everybody has a nice holiday next week if that's something that you do. Celebrate.
Deputy Administrator, acting as the city planner, Nygaard, do you have any comments?
Just a few comments. One is that the Matsu Borough, I know they have a committee for the setback, the 75-foot setback. And if you see some of those meetings published, it probably would be good to participate. That was one of the topics last night at the council meeting as well, is the 75-foot setback on the lakes. It seems to be quite challenging, one, to enforce, and then two, to remediate. It's very challenging. So any input that you could bring to us from other communities that are having that discussion, we would appreciate it.
Does the city attorney have any comments this evening?
Thank you, Commissioner. I look forward to our discussion at the December 10th meeting about Divisions 4, 5, and 6 in Title 16. And I will discuss within our firm the concerns that the Commissioner articulated tonight regarding code violation reporting, and we'll provide some suggestions on that topic at the next meeting as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown, do you have any comments?
Thank you everyone for coming out, and thanks for the public participation. And I heard through the grapevine, Krista's cooking Thanksgiving dinner for everybody in town who wants to come.
I'm glad your microphone's not on. You can say it again.
Yeah, like I said.
Commissioner Langell, do you have any comments?
No comments.
As Chair Seals, I have some comments. I thank Commissioner Brown for being here in person tonight. I appreciate, most definitely, I appreciate the work that the acting planner and the staff have provided for the commission here. It is top notch. They're working real hard, performing their due diligence. It makes our job very easy. I would like to just to add to the record once again that our code enforcement officer is in need of help. And so hopefully between the commission and the council, we can get him the help that he needs. And I think that will help with the actual logging and permit enforcement log that Commissioner Langell was talking about. So thanks again for the public coming out tonight. You're always welcome. So with no further business hand, I'm adjourning this meeting unless an objection is raised.
No objection.
Hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned at 6:42 PM.